Hey there, it's Adrian over at the Sampleist, and today we are checking out Cinepads from Cinematic Alpha. Cinematic Alpha is a sound design company owned and operated by Andrew Fly. Cinepads itself comes in 3 different volumes, and we have volume 1, which is textures of strings and synth files as well as soundscapes. Cinepads volume 2 is again textures, but focusing on winds, brass and again soundscapes. And in volume 3, again we are looking at textures, but this time it's soundscapes and granular pads, so each one will bring something different and unique to your sample collection. So in Sample Pads Volume 1, we have 50 patches, both separated into normal and motion, which we'll come to later, and we've got 60 multi-presets, again normal and motion. And we also have an extra 2 samples in there from a Yamaha piano, 3 levels of velocity. The library weighs in at 6.74 gig on your disk, and you need a minimum of 8 gig of RAM or at best 16 gig for the sort of like full fat samples to load in. You will also need, for all these libraries, the Native Instruments Kontakt 6.6.1 or above. Important to note, this isn't going to be compatible with the Kontakt player, so you will definitely need the full version of Kontakt to actually use these libraries. Just have a quick look at the interface. We'll just load up the very first patch, Nyman, and in here we have a very simple interface, which is really good because it leaves it uncluttered and lets you just dive into the sounds. What we have here, we have an equalizer on the left, and it's important to note that all these sections go vertically. So if you look at this side, that's all your equalizers section, so you alter your high band, your mid and your low band. The right hand side here is all your delay, so your dry and wet, how much delay you get, tempo sync and the feedback. Now your middle 3 knobs are to do with reverb, horizon, beautify and size. Now beautify is your dry wet, and your size is how big the room is basically. And then we have a little animate at the bottom here. Now animate is operated by your mod wheel, and that will add some motion and texture to your sound, but we'll come to that when we go through the patch walkthrough. And then we have your normal attack, decay, sustain, release envelope for your amplitude volume. In your effects section we have a rotator, and again these run vertically. So the rotator is your balance, your distance, and your dry and wet. So your rotator sort of like rotates the sound around your sort of stereo spectrum. You've got your filter, which is a normal low pass cut. So you got your cut off, your resonance, and your bandwidth alters between low pass, band pass, and high pass. And you have a bit crusher here, so you can change your bits, your sample rate, and your noise. So that's basically in the interface. The patches, these are split up into wonderful folders for you here, so it's easy to navigate. You have instruments, motion instruments, and your multis. And in volume 1 you also have a folder called Extra, which gives you access to those piano samples I mentioned earlier. In volume 2 again we have the instruments, motion instruments and multis, and in volume 3 we have instruments, motion instruments and multis. So how does it actually sound? Well, let's go and see. So the first patch is Nyman. See how the mod wheel brings in animate. As bringing animate, it gives like a chopping stutter effect. Let's try younger. Go for beautiful place. Now the interesting thing with these patches is they do actually respond dynamically to velocity. So in other words, the sound is alive. So if I hit harder, see how there's a bit more movement in there, the more velocity I throw into the patch. So we do blue diamond. So there's more percussive texture. See what I mean by velocity alters the motion? Lovely. Let's check out some of these motion instruments now. Bird Symphony. Beautiful place again. And we'll go for Hyper Beauty. Let's check out some of these multis. Again, they were split into normal and motion. Each sort of the multi-fold is split into normal and motion, and also the extras. So we'll try Dystopian Love first. Lots of motion in this. Amazing textures. The Wedding. Let's go into the motion part of multis. We also have a folder of extras. This is only in the first volume that you will get this folder, because you get a piano. the way. Here we go. That's what volume 1 sounds like. So volume 2, just before I do that, let's just clear these so we make sure we don't have anything extra in there. Let's go for spiritual. Mandala. Guru Josh. So we've got a trumpety one in there, and for those who might remember him, Guru Josh was a fantastic artist that sadly was taken away from us all too very soon, and this was done in tribute to him. So we have Felix Fox. Oops, we want to do Nordic Heart. There we go, Nordic Heart loading. Do motion instrument Sanctus. Mandala. This is the motion version of Mandala. Let's have a look at some of these multis. We've got, again, a fold of the normal Epic Elf. New York 2100. Majestic. Now that tempo stuttering you can hear, your mod wheel will actually alter it for all the loaded patches. So I've got 4 patches loaded here, so it's going to use it on all 4 of them. But because of the way they're designed and layered, they absolutely sound fantastic. Even when you do the choppy motion thing, it just sounds fantastic. It just adds a whole new sort of soundscape. So these multis are just a start, because the way this library is designed, you can actually layer your own multis and make your own wonderful different soundscapes. Always experiment, that's the key. So that's volume 2. Now volume 3, before I do that, let's just make sure we absolutely clear everything out, because we don't want anything left over. We'd have volume 3 now. A bit more delicate. So these are this granular textures. We'll go for water pad. It's a very delicate sounding volume, this. Go into the motion instruments. Let's do Radio Man again so you can hear the difference. Still delicate, but a bit more motion. Like a little alien going on in the background of this one. Let's go to Burning Sky, because I do like this patch, especially in the low down. Check out the multis. Some of the motion multis now. I do like that stuttery, like it's like speeds up and slows down. Requiem. Do one more. Synthwave Kingdom. So that's how Cinepads Volume 1, 2 and 3 sound. We're now just going to take a look at a composition to just put together using all three of these libraries, so Volume 1, 2 and 3. And we'll see how it actually sounds in context. So that's how it sounds in context of a track, and in that track we used all three volumes of Cinepads. So on the first channel we have just a very simple piano, which we'll just bring up now. Nothing spectacular, it's just setting a theme and the scene. And then as we go along underneath, we have, no, we don't want Kontakt, we want that one. We have a deep bass sound, but with a bit of animate. So it's not a static bass playing. So if we just play those two together, gives the track some depth. And then as we go along, we introduce, let's move that back to the beginning of where it comes in. Some gentle pads. Just playing simple chords, nothing spectacular. But again, the animate just gives it that little edge. Then tweaked in with that, we have some wonderful brass. And then when you stack those two together, then add in the bass, carries it through. But then if you add in piano on top, get the counter melody going, just fills out the blank. And we move on to volume 3. So we've actually used volume 1 on the first 2 channels, volume 2 on the second 2 channels, and the last 4 channels we've actually used volume 3. Now volume 3, this one adds bits of, it fills in the gap, so that. So it fills in the gap between the trumpet coming in. So if we move past the next trumpet phase, the synth waves take over. Just has a bit of sonic difference to the sound. Now, what would a track be without an ambient sort of start? And this is where Cinepads 3 comes in. Nice, low down. I'll just play that again. So we're using Mr. Resonance and Burning Sky. Quite a lot of quite a lot of movement on there. Just play it one more time. Just sets the scene. And then we have, right towards the end, as the track is just winding up, we have something just to add a little top end. We're also playing low down as well, just to fill out the soundscape a bit more. So, my thoughts on the library. Well, Cinepads from Cinematic Alpha, what can I say? It is as broad as it is deep. So would I recommend this library? Well, absolutely I would. For any style of music you're actually making, there's so much versatility here, and it can be used sort of for anything. I mainly do ambient electronic, and I can see myself using this quite extensively in a lot of tracks just to fill out the soundscapes. So the way the texture's been created allows them to be easily blended together, just using, as you saw here, just Cinepads sample libraries, or with other instruments that you actually own. So each instrument has something different to offer, and it can be set sort of in the background or bold and straight up front in your compositions. The additional option of adding movement to the sound is fantastic and can take something that sounds quite static, as we heard and saw here, and quite boring maybe in some aspects, but with the movement it just sort of adds another sonic dimension that can be used to enhance your soundscape. So what would be even better is if this showed how the knobs in the effects sections are linked. This would serve as more of a memory jogger as you move around different sample libraries and layouts, but that's just a minor observation. That I would like to thank Cinematic Alpha for sending across Cinepads for a review. It's very much appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and visit thesampleist.com to find out what's going on out in the sample world. Until the next video.